Hi students, the previous class we have learned the nutrition process and we learned what happened to the food that we eat. And in this video we are going to discuss that what happened to the digested food and how the energy is produced from this digested food. Obtaining energy from the digested food is called the respiration. And the digested food that absorbed from the small intestine supplied to the each and every cells in our body, and which consists of the glucose molecules in it. And these glucose molecules may be converted into a 6-carbon molecule converted into a 3-carbon molecule called pyruvate. In the absence of oxygen, then it is called anaerobic respiration. And if this glucose is converted into pyruvate in the presence of oxygen, then it is called aerobic respiration. So the pathways may be different, but ultimately the glucose is converted into pyruvate. The pyruvate further converted into ethanol and carbon dioxide in the yeast by the process of fermentation is called the anaerobic respiration, which takes place in the absence of oxygen. The breaking down of pyruvate in the presence of oxygen takes place in mitochondria. This process converts a 3-carbon pyruvate into a 3-carbon dioxide molecule. The other product is water. And this is called aerobic respiration. And the energy released during this process is a lot greater than the energy released by the anaerobic respiration. Sometimes if the body is lack of oxygen, then another pathway of breaking down of these molecules take place. The synthesis of lactic acid is also 3-carbon molecules. The energy released during this cellular respiration is immediately converted as a molecule called ATP molecule or adenine triphosphate molecule, which is fuel all the other activities in the body. When the ATP molecules breaks down, it gives a definite amount of energy, and that energy is used for our life activities. And that energy can drive the all other endothermic reactions take place in the cell. Since this aerobic respiration needs oxygen, all the organisms ensure the sufficient intake of oxygen. And this intake of oxygen carried out by the various organs in various animals and plants. In the previous class we have learned that the exchange of gases take place through stomata in plants. The exchange of gases take place in plants through the process of diffusion. So the cells which are in contact with this stomata are made sure that they have a large intercellular space between them so that all the cells are in contact with the air. Here the carbon dioxide and oxygen are the gases exchanged, and the direction of exchange of gases depends on environmental conditions and the requirements of plants. In animals, the exchange of gases take place in specially designed organs. Various animals intake oxygen and release carbon dioxide through specially designed organs. Terrestrial animals generally absorb the oxygen from its surrounding, that means from the atmosphere, through nostrils. And these nostrils lead the air into the lungs and to the or a surface area that provides the absorption of oxygen and release of exchange of gases take place. In marine animals, they have special organs to absorb the dissolved oxygen from the water. For example, fishes have gills. The water enters through the mouth and forced past the gills. And during this process, the dissolved oxygen in the water absorbed by the gills. So the exchange of gases take place in fishes through gills. Different animals, they have different organs. And in all these organisms, in all these animals, they make sure that a large area of surface provides the exchange of gases. Then in humans, the air is absorbed or taken in through the nostrils. The nostrils have airs that filters the air or oxygen, and again it passes through the throat. Throat also has the line of hair that filter the air which passes through them. And then the throat has cartilage rings, and that makes sure that the air does not collapse inside the throat. And then the air is taken to the lungs, where that provides the surface area of the absorption and release of gases. Then the lungs consist of alveoli that gives a surface area, or that provides a surface area for the absorption of gases, which are richly supplied with blood vessels. In lower classes we have seen that when we take in the air and our ribs lifted so that the diaphragm will be flattened, then the maximum air can be filled in the diaphragm. And then this air is transferred to the lungs, and this air is then carried to the blood vessels. The carbon dioxide from the rest of
The respiratory system moves air through the nose, pharynx, larynx, trachea, and bronchus to the alveoli, where the gas exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs. Nares are the openings to the nose. The nasal cavity is lined with cilia, mucous membranes, and blood capillaries. The air is filtered by cilia, moistened by mucous membranes, and warmed by the blood. Air moves into the pharynx or throat, the common passageway for food and air. Air continues on to the larynx. The epiglottis, a flap of tissue in front of the larynx, closes off the larynx when swallowing to prevent food from entering. The larynx or voice box contains the vocal folds. The trachea or windpipe connects the larynx to the bronchial tree. The cartilage rings of the trachea prevent the trachea from collapsing. Lungs are spongy tissue with alveoli and blood capillaries. Breathing occurs because of the expansion and contraction of the lungs. The bronchi carrying the air subdivide into smaller branches called bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole are the alveolar sacs. The alveolar sacs are surrounded by blood capillaries and contain millions of single-layer alveoli cells where the gas exchange takes place. Oxygenated air goes from the nose to the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, and alveoli. By the process of diffusion, oxygen in the air moves from the alveoli to the capillaries. Carbon dioxide moves from the capillaries to the alveoli and is exhaled. This process is called respiration.
Mitochondria of the cell, and the entire mechanism of respiration takes place in the cell. And this is all about the respiration in human beings.